There is a shocking protest going on at the label's headquarters, and we need to talk about that. We also have the label putting out a statement that has made people really shocked about Jimin, and then we have people saying that someone is crying over an award show. So hey dumplings, it's Dave Disci, let's get into it. There is this post that has been trending online, and I think it's quite interesting what gets trended online lately. And I think a lot of the stuff that gets trended online is due to there really not much news coming out. And so the news that does end up surfacing and going viral tends to be very odd news. So what story am I talking about today? Well, apparently Jennie from BLACKPINK was at Music Bank, and if you're unaware of what this is an award show. And so pretty much just like any other award show, you have an opportunity to make a song, get nominated, and then win. This is what was happening here, and some people were saying that Jennie was caught crying after the award went to someone else, specifically Jin of BTS. This is an extremely odd thing to say because I just don't think that any artist really reacts that way when they lose an award. Second of all, I was kind of looking to try to figure out what award Jin won and what award would be in the same category as a member of BLACKPINK, and I couldn't find anything like that. So to me, I think it's just a fake story, and it makes a lot of sense to me because Jin hasn't put out any music recently, and he's been back from the military, but he still hasn't put anything out, so it would make less sense if he was nominated for something as opposed to Jennie, who just put out a solo song. Obviously, it makes more sense for her to be nominated for something like that. This is kind of the issue that I have with K-pop fans in general, and not specifically BLACKPINK fans, just some of the K-pop people in general, is that they think everything relates to them. They think that anything little that is being talked about on the internet is of their favorite K-pop star. Anytime anyone is talking about a boy band or they're talking about things that aren't even related to K-pop or BTS, that must mean they're sending shade to the boys, and then these fans are trying really hard to relate it together. If Jennie was seen crying, it could have been through a multitude of things as opposed to not winning the award. It could be due to the fact that being a celebrity, especially when you're at her caliber, would be very stressful, and she would be stressed. If she didn't win an award, could be more so on the side of feeling like she let her team down rather than her being upset that she didn't win an accolade or that she didn't have it for herself. When the song actually wins an award, the award goes to everybody who works on that song. Like they can say, oh, I worked on, for example, a Grammy-winning song. And this is not the first time that's happened where something completely unrelated is brought up. Seeing Jennie cry should never incite a BTS member to be involved in that conversation. Even one of the biggest controversies that exist on daytime television with Jimmy Kimmel mentioning boy bands and him mentioning all of the American boy bands, saying how they're all extremely great, but failed to mention any Korean boy bands or failed to mention BTS, that ended up causing a lot of controversy. A lot of people that were BTS fans started getting really upset and started insulting Jimmy Kimmel, saying that he was a bad person or that he doesn't deserve his position as a talk show host. The bottom line is, at the time, and especially now that the boys are in the military, they are not at the forefront of American conversation. American shows and people in America are also still going to want to represent and talk about the American boy bands from their own country rather than talking about something that is more foreign. Although some of those historic big American bands, I don't know if they're from Canada or something, but their songs and albums were all in English. And that very much matters because that's what the general population noted as why they won't listen to K-pop. There's also this agenda within Asian stuff in America that there's an agenda there. Anything that's from a foreign country, specifically Asia, is to not be trusted. It's something that has an ulterior motive, and it's meant to go in and invade the US, and so that's a lot of the reason why people might not want to mention BTS or might not want to mention K-pop on American TV. But the community took that as a moment to say, oh, they're not mentioning BTS, but they mentioned other boy bands, so they're terrible. A lot of stuff that would make news in America, things that if, let's say, Megan Thee Stallion were involved in, would cause American news to go haywire, is not something that if BTS were to be involved, they would get the same reaction on American news. So for example, if there was this story of Jimin giving money to his friend on Knowing Bros, so I don't know what their relationship between each other really is, but I'm sure that Jimin felt like if he were to maintain that close relationship with one of the members from this really big TV show, that it would maintain that relationship and Jimin would be allowed to be back on that show anytime. This is really the reason why people in entertainment do most things. They want to maintain a specific relationship with someone, so they might sometimes go out of their way to help them. Now, it's important to note that the amount of money that Jimin gave to this friend was not a small amount of money, and also if a celebrity does have a need for money, it tends to not be any small amount of money. So Jimin gave 100 million won, or about 73,000 US dollars. So that's a huge chunk of change right there. And apparently, allegedly, this friend decided to take that money and gamble it away, and apparently had asked several of his own friends for money too. So Jimin wasn't the only one that allegedly he took money from. When Jimin gave the money, apparently there was a note that was signed, and it was like a promise note discussing when Jimin would get the money back. And the note specified a week. Now, obviously, Jimin trusts this person. This person is also in a huge Korean TV show, so Jimin probably thought he was good for the money. But even for a lot of big celebrities, to generate $73,000 in 1 week, it's pretty hard to do, I would say. But when Jimin was aware that he was probably not going to get that money anytime soon, he changed the agreement to say that the friend can pay it back anytime within 10 years. Now, this was then a statement that was made by the label, and they allegedly confirmed that this was true. This ended up being a bigger scandal on the friend side because some people were really getting screwed over. So Jimin was really smart. He did have a note signed, so when he gave the money, it actually wasn't a gift, it was a loan. However, those who really trusted the friend and were close to him didn't ask for a note, and thus it seemed more in the eyes of the IRS as a gift. That means that the person who received the gift, the friend, does not have to pay taxes on that amount, but the giver actually does have to pay 18 to 40% of taxes on the amount they gave. And this is American law or American taxes, I believe. I'm also not an accountant or a financial expert, don't trust me 100%, but this is what I've read on the internet about what that is. Now, the laws are going to be different in Korea, obviously. However, it's probably similar, and that was a part of the scandal where this person was allegedly screwing over a lot of his friends. Fortunately, Jimin isn't part of that, and for him, $73,000 probably isn't that much, and he obviously is going to be okay without that amount of money. Switching gears a little bit, there has been this protest that has been going on outside of BTS's label and their headquarters. If you are not aware, Suga was recently part of a DUI incident. I believe he pleaded guilty, and he had to pay some sort of fine, and I think that was it. And quite honestly, I thought this was over. I thought people kind of moved on and they stopped caring. But of course, if you're part of the K-pop community, you can do something and then 10 years later get reminded of it. And within that 10 years time, be reminded of it every few months. And not even just reminded where you see a few tweets talking about it. You'll literally see it going outside of your headquarters for something that happened literally ages ago. Like, he is quite literally going through his punishment right now. Let him finish his punishment first before you try to implement a new one. But there have been new funeral or death wreaths outside of the headquarters stating the death of the boy band and asking the label to drop Suga. And a lot of people have been thinking about trying to destroy them, the wreaths, because they're so over this. However, these wreaths are not created by one person or a bunch of fans. That's like just making them and putting them together and putting them there. It's actually made by a company, so you can't destroy them or ruin them, otherwise the company can then take legal action on you for destroying their property. However, one thing I will say about companies who participate in these petty fan things, I will say that they're just greedy for money, because how do you read or take an offer like this where you know it's going to be outside of a label and it's not used for its intended purposes of a funeral, and you're gonna then just take the money and allow people to pay for something like this? Some people think that the label will not respond to this, and other people think that the label will respond and will actually do it. And it gets harder and harder for a K-pop label to not respond to controversy or criticism like this, because it gets brought up every few months. And this is where I say there are definitely people within the K-pop community specifically that have a tremendous amount of mental illness, because to harp on something so deeply and to stick on it for months on end and then to take legal action and spend your own hard money on something is such a disease mentally that genuinely these people need to find therapy, because why do you care so much? If you have other things going on, like in your life, or if you have a job, or if you have anything else like a partner or family or friends, you would not have the mental space to constantly be thinking about this. I don't think the label is going to respond, because there's nothing to respond. Suga is literally serving out his punishment right now. He's paying the fine, and he's taking any punishment that he is going to receive from this. Any response from the label would be a bit silly. I don't think there's much that they can even say. And also, aside from that, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think they're going to drop him. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for leaving a comment right here. Love you. Bye.